So a little backstory of this. The reason why am I reviewing Dark Side of the Cube? Because it is out of print in a lot of places. I think you can still get it in some places. And he's just come out with a new one. Well, the reason is this. So Diego got in touch with me and said, will you review this? I was a bit worried because I was a bit overwhelmed with reviewing stuff and books. I don't like to review a book unless I've literally read it cover to cover, usually with props in hand. And I was like, well, okay, how hard can it be? It's 80 odd pages. It's a Rubik's Cube book. I already love Rubik's Cube. I love the Rubik's Cube Magic. I know the notation, so this is going to be easy. We'll get on to that in a minute. What's with the glasses, Steve? Sign that you're getting old. Absolutely, I know. And the reason I'm wearing them is because actually I can see well. I've just started wearing them, and because I've just started recently wearing them, I feel ridiculous in them. I'm looking at myself now and I just look utterly preposterous. So if I wear them all the time now, I'll get used to it. Alan, how you doing? Lovely to meet you. And I've got to look at your account on the card magic course that you put on there. Remind me. This week's been very hectic. Kids' exams and all that. So anyway, so I said to Diego, right, I'll review the new book, send me the old one, because obviously they go together, and I'll bang through that quickly. How wrong I was. This book has become an utter obsession of mine over the last couple of weeks, to the point where you'll realise I haven't done that many reviews. That's because I've been reading that, thinking, well, that's my next review, but I can't review it until I've played with the cube, got the algorithms right, and it just... Algorithms are difficult to remember at the best of times. I am 47, so they're getting even more difficult to remember, and it just became a thing. So what I thought I'd do, I was going to review just the second book, but I'm going to review this one and then get onto the second one, just to take the pressure off myself and be able to chat about it. Because I think it's important. The couple of reasons I've got into the obsession of this, and it isn't really the effect. Now, I'll just tell you what the effect of this book is. This is about one effect, and it sounds, when you first read it, like a kind of inferior version of an existing effect, but I don't think it is. I really don't. And he references very well in this. He references Stephen Brundage, who he was inspired by with some stuff, of course, and I want to get the pronunciation right. Takami's Usui, I think that's who done the Cube and the Cube 2. With the Cube 2 is a similar effect, but a very different way of getting to it, and arguably a more kind of cumbersome way of getting to it. So Stephen Brundage and Takami's, I just don't want to sound like I am on it. I just can't get the pronunciation right. Takami's Usui is all sort of shuffles and stacks where you can do instant solves, and I love that. I use the Usui solve myself, and I absolutely love it. And the Brundage solve that a lot of this is based on a solving the cube from mixed to non-mixed. Now this isn't that. What this is the spectator thinks of a colour of the Rubik's Cube, and you then solve, or appear not to solve, importantly, but show the colour of that the cube matches the colour. So if they say white, or they don't say white, importantly, they write it down or do something else, which we'll talk about in a minute, you then just play with the cube and show that the only solved colour matches what they've thought of, which you wouldn't know at that time. That's really important. Okay, so even if you did know it, it would be kind of a cool thing. And that's where this differs. This is not, I can solve the cube and match your colour. This is more, I can turn the cube and show you your colour that you're merely thinking of, or you've written down on a piece of paper, as in a lot of mentalism effects. So there's the difference. So when you're going, well, you're just solving one colour, you're not. You're showing one colour out of that whole mix and talking about, how many, the chances of that happening, etc., matches their colour. And this is what got me intrigued. So, and I thought, well, he's very passionate about it. He's written 2 books on the thing, which we'll do a separate review on the other book. So when I see someone that's written a book and then another book, I think there's something in this that I'm not seeing. And it was. The first thing I will say is that I started learning it and got really into it, like I said, because it's a challenge. It is a challenge, this book. This is not something you're going to pick up and, oh, there's an algorithm, I'm going to do it. Diego said to me, when he sent it to me, he said, I made this because, it was easy to make a video, but he loves books, he loves art, he loves drawing, and he wanted to put something together that would be more of a challenge, arguably, that maybe wouldn't be the easiest way to learn this, but he wanted to work within his values, and I really, really applaud that. So I'm going to show you this, hopefully. Let's see if this works. There you go, boom. So, oh, God, I've lent on my mouse. Hang on. What have I done? There you go. So hopefully you can hear me now. Get Evernote out of the way. You don't want that. So this is the book. Now, first of all, you'll notice that it's a beautiful looking book, and these are his drawings. And I mean, look, and if you see all the work that comes along with this, the sort of trailer and all that. It's all very well done, and the illustrations are beautiful. They're really clear. The writing's really clear. There is a couple of proofing issues that I came, and maybe some translation issues, but it's just really lovely. And some people are like, oh, they could pause it and read the book. I'm sure that won't really matter in this. But there you go. So there's that's what the book looks like, and it's a really nice thing. You'll see it's been very well read. That's what I like about this. One of the things I like about it, you are sitting in front of a book, which is a very different thing. And I could have learned this a lot quicker had I not been. But I have been in flow many times with this, and I've spent time enjoying the process and not necessarily thinking, I've got to learn the thing. Now, I will say, there's another challenge with this, is you are remembering algorithms. Now, you get the cube into a certain situation to be able to perform the main bit. And that requires learning a fairly long-ish algorithm. And I really enjoyed that as well, because I find that a challenge. So to start learning it, when it starts clicking, I really like that. If you do struggle with that kind of memory stuff, don't worry about it. I do too, and you will learn it. And then there's a second very simple algorithm you've got to know. And then if you want to do the reset and things like that, there's another one. So it's not an overnight thing. And Diego said to me, he said, good on you for staying with the book and learning it, and because he understands it's a challenge. So this is not an easy overnight thing. For me, that's a plus. For some people, it isn't going to be. The book does, first of all, it goes into the effects, then it goes into the stack, to all the sort of things you've got to do. There is one thing you have to do to the cube, which you do not in the second book, and he sort of has another version of doing it that you might find a little bit of a turn off. Don't worry about it. Once you've done it a few times, it's nothing. And that's all I'll say. It's kind of like a physical thing you have to do. And I don't find that a problem at all. And then he goes into the workings. Now, his solve that he revolves the cube, which is the rolling solve, I was going to say revolving solve. His rolling solve is inspired by Stephen Brundage's imagination solve, but again, this time you're not seeing, well, you shouldn't be seeing anything turn. If you do it badly, you will be seeing something turn like this. So let's say someone said white, and this is done just after learning it, so please don't judge the quality of this. But you would usually be looking at the audience, talking as you're doing this and just playing with the cube, and then you would turn it around. They're just thinking of white, and it matches white. And there you go. So that's the thing. But obviously when he does it, and the second book does come with a video and all that kind of stuff, so you can learn it from the video if you wish as well. Well, not learn it, but read the book and then reference it. So then he goes into a simplified solve, which isn't a revolving, the rolling solve, which is basically you can put your hand in a bag and come out and the one side is showing. And then he's got a load of theory, and I really like this. I thought this was just going to be an addition, just something to fill the book, but actually he's got an appendix at the end, which I really like, and talks about theory and how to approach this and not to make it a puzzle. So this whole idea of using a puzzle, but it doesn't mean the magic has to be puzzling. And he's a fan and a student, really, of Eugene Burger, Robert E. Neal. I think he wrote his dissertation on stuff based on Eugene Burger. So he takes this stuff seriously. It's not just here's a puzzle with a puzzle that you've got to work out how it's done. It's how can we create a moment of magic. And again, I really, really like that. I found it really inspiring. At the end of the book, he gives you some premises, some ideas of how to use metaphor with the cube, which, you know, first reading, you go, oh, is it a bit shoehorned in? But it makes complete sense, and you can imagine certain people really getting away with that. And it really, again, gets the brain ticking. So I have spent so long with this. I continue to spend so long. I have the turn sorted now. I have the algorithm sorted. Some of them are still a bit sticky, but I wanted to do this before going on reviewing the second one next time, because you can have this for a reference rather than do a massive long review, which weirdly enough I already have, haven't I? But there you go. On the plus side, I love it. It's one effect. It's a one effect which is a plus and a minus depending on how you look at it, and it's a deep dive into that effect, and it's a really enjoyable process for me. On the minus, I think there are a couple of times when I really struggled, especially with the rolling solve. I think we could have done with a little bit more detail and some more colour in those specific illustrations to check that when I was rolling it, I wasn't, because I did really struggle with that bit. I got it in the end, but it was struggle with it. So maybe a little bit more detail in the text. But again, when you buy the second one, I think you get a video with that as well to show you what it's meant to look like. But I don't think you'll need it if you stick with it and you enjoy that learning process. So there it is, the Dark Side of the Cube. I'll have another review on the next one later. Let's have a look. Steve, can you still buy the Dark Cube book? I bought the first book, but the second book seems to be out of stock at all dealers I've tried. It's just come out and hasn't been out for long, the second one. So I'm presuming, let's check if he hasn't got back to me, that it won't, I mean, they're going to be back in. He said to me when he contacted me that there will be another, so it's not going to be out of print forever. I think it's just a case of waiting for them to come in. Let me just check he hasn't got, it's going to be, no, he hasn't been on. So, so keep in touch. And comment below, and hopefully he'll see that and he'll be able to comment and answer your questions as well. So that's all I can say on that. But let's have a look. I love watching cube routines. Not sure if I could pull them off myself. Good. This is important. When you do the cube, you look, and he talks about actually how to not look clever. That's not the point. You're almost going to look like a layman doing it, but that's a different thing. I'm not a memory person. I really am not. I struggle with it. And I think a lot of it is just having faith that it's going to click. When I started learning this algorithm and all the algorithms of the cube, easy for me to say, it just doesn't seem to click. And then something happens where you see the pattern and it just comes, and it's just knowing that takes time. And I really have very, very recently started having a little bit more faith in myself for doing that. A lot of people, it's like hand-eye coordination with juggling. People say I haven't got much hand-eye coordination, so I can't do it. It's we've all got what we've got, and we can all do it. It's just having that thing of going, look, if I want to learn it enough, and I'm happy to sit there for hours and do it, I'll do it. But that's arguable whether that's worth it for you. So I really enjoyed that. I'm glad he sent it. I'm glad I've spent the time with it, and thank you as well. I will be doing more live stuff. I will be doing edited stuff as well, and a few more low-tech things just from my phone when I'm out and about, and because life is throwing up a few challenges at the moment. All good ones, but all time-consuming ones nevertheless. So listen, thank you very much. Please like, please subscribe, please go and check out cardmagiccourse.com. Even if you're not going to look at it, go and check it out and spend about an hour on it, because then Google thinks people are spending ages on that. No, don't do that, because they'll know that's happening. So listen, have a great one. I'm glad this has all worked out. Take care, lots of love, be kind to each other. Bye-bye.